It was a message of force, delivered quietly at first. Israeli soldiers seeking their targets, street by Palestinian street. By morning, hundreds of troops, backed by armoured bulldozers, had arrived in the refugee camps of Tulkarem, Nablus, Tubas, Jenin, home to armed Palestinian groups and unarmed civilians. At least 10 Palestinians have been killed. Hamas says 6 of them were its fighters. Masoud Najjar said he was injured when he opened the door of his house to young men asking for water.
We felt like something came down on us from the sky, and there was an explosion. I was unaware of what was going on. When I put my hand on my chest, it was all shrapnel and blood.
In Jenin, army vehicles surrounded the city's 2 main hospitals. Ambulances stopped and checked by military jeeps. Israel's foreign minister has urged his government to use Gaza as a model for dealing with armed groups here, saying that Iran was backing them and that this was a war for everything, that Israel must win.
The IDF and our security forces are operating in Tulkarem, Jenin and other places from which murderous attacks have been launched. We will fight to eliminate terrorism wherever it emerges.
Almost 600 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank by Israeli forces since the Hamas attacks. But fighters here are still presenting Israel with new tactics and new threats. Israel's army has been targeting the same areas in the same cities week after week for the past 10 months, determined to dismantle the armed Palestinian groups based here. Now it's launched a wider, more coordinated operation across the West Bank on a scale not seen for 20 years. In Al-Farah camp near Tubas, mobile phone footage showed Red Crescent staff lined up against the wall of their compound in front of Israeli troops. Arriving in Jenin today, the West Bank head of the Red Crescent. You've had 10 months of these sorts of incursions. How worried are you by what's happening today?
I'm very much worried because it seems there's a new stage. There's a new, they are scaling up their operation. When they talk about evacuating civilians and using the Air Force to bombing the camps, this reminds us of Gaza.
As night fell, explosions and gunfire from Jenin's refugee camp. Dusk can be a signal to test the army's control. The war in Gaza is changing this conflict, an old front creating new fears in the face of a regional war. Lucy Williamson, BBC News, Jenin.